Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we explore the fascinating world of old coins and their historical and collector value today. We are going deep into the story of the 1971 half-dollar coin, a piece of American coinage that holds immense historical importance and continues to spark interest among collectors, historians, and numismatists around the world. The journey of the 1971 half-dollar begins with a backdrop of American history that saw national mourning, political change, and a renewed appreciation for commemorative coinage. As many of you may know, the half-dollar coin issued in 1971 bears the image of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, who was tragically assassinated in November of 1963. His death shocked the nation, and just months later, in early 1964, the United States Mint responded by introducing a new half-dollar coin to honor the late president, the Kennedy half-dollar, replacing the Franklin half-dollar design that had been in circulation since 1948. The initial Kennedy half-dollars, minted in 1964, were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, a composition that matched many circulating coins of the era. However, due to rising silver prices and the growing habit of hoarding coins for their metal value, the U.S. Mint reduced the silver content of these coins starting in 1965 with a new composition of 40% silver and 60% copper. This continued until 1970, when the last 40% silver Kennedy half-dollars were issued for collectors only. By 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar underwent another important transition. It was now minted using a copper nickel-clad composition similar to that of dimes and quarters. This change was part of a broader move by the U.S. Mint to eliminate silver from circulating coinage and preserve precious metals for industrial use and national reserves. The 1971 half-dollar was the first of its kind to be minted for circulation without any silver content, made instead with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to an inner core of pure copper. This resulted in a coin that maintained the same weight and size as previous half-dollars, but was more cost-effective to produce and circulate. From a historical perspective, this shift marked the final chapter of silver in everyday coinage for the average American. The design of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar remained unchanged from its predecessors. On the obverse side, the coin features a left-facing bust of President John F. Kennedy designed by Gilroy, whose initials appear near the truncation of the neck. This portrait was based on a presidential medal and quickly gained acceptance from the public as a fitting tribute to a fallen leader. On the reverse, the coin displays a heraldic eagle with a shield clutching an olive branch in its right talon and a bundle of arrows in its left, with a field of 13 stars above its head and a circle of 50 stars around the entire design. This reverse was created by Frank Gasparro, who would later become chief engraver of the United States Mint. The eagle design closely resembles the presidential seal, adding to the symbolism and patriotic theme of the coin. In terms of minting, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark, while those from Denver are marked with a small D on the obverse just below Kennedy's neck. In total, more than 350 million half-dollars were struck in 1971, the bulk of which came from Denver. These coins were widely distributed, but despite their large mintage, they quickly became scarce in everyday circulation due to public fascination, hoarding, and a general decline in the use of the half-dollar denomination in commerce. Many Americans held on to the 1971 half-dollar as a keepsake, not only because it bore the image of Kennedy, but also because it marked a significant turning point in American coinage away from precious metal and into modern manufacturing. This coin also coincided with broader changes in American society, including the end of the silver certificate dollar, the decoupling of U.S. currency from gold and silver under the Nixon administration, and increasing inflation that changed how Americans thought about money, collecting and saving. In numismatic circles, the 1971 half-dollar holds unique interest because although it is relatively common in circulated grades, it can be difficult to find high-quality uncirculated specimens, especially those with strong strikes and full details. Many examples suffer from weak strikes or heavy contact marks due to mass production and the nature of clad metal, which is softer and more prone to wear over time, while circulated examples carry little numismatic premium. High-grade mint state versions, especially those graded MS65 and above by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch respectable prices among collectors. The same applies to proof versions of the coin, which were struck at the San Francisco Mint and sold to collectors in special proof sets. The 1971S proof Kennedy $half is distinguishable by its mirror-like fields and frosted devices and is popular with those who build typesets or full Kennedy $half collections. In addition, there are a few known errors and varieties associated with the 1971 $half that have captured the attention of specialists. One of the most famous is the 1971D struck on a silver planchet, a rare error that occurred when a leftover 40% silver blank was accidentally used during production at the Denver Mint. This mistake has resulted in a few known examples, which are extremely valuable and highly sought after, with prices reaching into the thousands of dollars depending on condition. Authentication of such coins requires precise weight measurement and metallurgical testing, as well as confirmation from reputable grading services. Another rare variety involves double die obverses and reverse examples, although these are subtle and not as well known as double dies from earlier decades. They are pursued by variety hunters who study minute differences in design caused by die misalignments during production. Collectors and dealers also study the differences in strike quality between the Philadelphia and Denver versions of the coin, with some favoring Denver coins for their sharper detail. Though this can vary year to year, the Kennedy $half series as a whole has become one of the most actively collected U.S. coin series since its inception, due to its historical ties to a beloved president, its varied composition, and its wide array of mint marks, proofs, errors, and special issues over the decades. The 1971 issue in particular marks the beginning of the modern era for this series and is essential to any complete Kennedy $half collection. In the broader context of U.S. coinage, the 1971 Kennedy $half represents a critical turning point in the monetary history of the United States. It symbolizes the transition from coinage made with intrinsic metal value to one that is purely fiat-based. It reflects the evolving philosophy of the United States Mint in terms of cost efficiency, metal sourcing, and public policy. It also demonstrates how national tragedies such as the assassination of a president can lead to enduring cultural symbols expressed through coin design and piece of metal. It is a small but powerful monument to the memory of John F. Kennedy, to the changing economic realities of the 20th century, and to the legacy of American innovation and adaptability in the face of change. Whether you are holding a 1971 Kennedy $half in your hand because you found it in pocket change, inherited it from a relative, or purchased it from a dealer, you are holding a tangible link to American history, a symbol of honor and remembrance and a cornerstone of American history, a symbol of honor and remembrance and a cornerstone of modern numismatics. Thank you for joining me on this in-depth journey into the story and value of the 1971 $half coin. As always, I invite you to subscribe for more content about the fascinating world of old coins, rare finds, and numismatic treasures that continue to tell stories worth remembering.